Follow the sound of song here in Morecambe and you'll find the Lyrics and Lunch Club. Music unlocked in minds with fading memories. It's an hour each week which can be transformative for people like John and their families and carers.
I think it's kind of good because it kind of seems like access stuff, you know, out of the back of his head that he's forgotten. Because obviously now John, like, he probably doesn't know that I'm his stepson. But he still remembers lyrics, and it's just quite nice to hear it come out of him.
The clubs are growing in popularity and they're hoping to form a partnership with the NHS.
Music reaches through dementia. It reaches to the person inside. Even people who are quite far on in dementia, they remember the songs they sang when they were young, and they know every word, and they can still sing them with gusto. It enables them, we believe, to feel normal for a little bit.
New research found that music reduces the need for antipsychotic medication in 67% of people living with dementia. 84% of older people said music helps bring back fond memories, and 78% of the public called for wider access to dementia music therapy.
We are asking the government to support us with the appointment of a Power of Music Commissioner, and that Commissioner would bring together all the interested in parties in helping to make music an integral part of dementia care.
For Barbara, these sing-alongs change everything. So you forget a lot of things. Sometimes you don't even know what day of the week it is, but these songs, these lyrics, they're locked away.
They are, yes. I don't understand it myself. It's just the joy that you have.
Today is Barbara actually belongs in the world again. Later on this afternoon, she can be completely lost.
The music brings you back, Barbara.
It does.
It does.
It really does. Yes. I'm here.
Yeah.
Very much here, in the moment, and in fine voice. Peter Lane, 5 News, Morecambe.
Well, earlier I spoke to Sir Tony Robinson. Now, you'll recognise him as the presenter of Time Team or as Blackadder's Baldrick.
If I have 2 beans and then I add 2 more beans, what do I have?
Some beans.
Well, what you might not know is Sir Tony is also an ambassador for the Alzheimer's Society. And he got involved after seeing both of his parents experience dementia. And I started by asking him what that was like.
It was very confusing. It was a long time before we realised that my dad had got Alzheimer's. First of all, he would be more depressed than normal, a little bit more anxious than normal, slightly more obsessive. He didn't know whether that was just him or it was because he was getting older or what. And it wasn't until much later, maybe 18 months later, when he really started to get agitated and he'd worry about things. He couldn't go to bed until all the plugs had been taken out of the sockets around the house. And we insisted that we'd done that, and then he would go around again and again and again. He had to have all the cups, all the handles, all had to be in exactly the same line, pointing northeast. If they weren't, he would get really agitated. It's like a sort of desperate attempt to seize control of little things.
And in our report, we talk about music and singing playing a role in helping people living with dementia. Was that the case with your parents?
Yeah, very much. Both of my parents always had music in their lives. My dad had learned to be a boogie pianist when he was in World War II. My mum always had the Light programme on the BBC. They loved music. And I think that when the brain starts getting more confused, it's those things that aren't about thinking, aren't about articulating so much, that people with Alzheimer's often really enjoy. So whether that's music or the smell of something or seeing a dog in a care home and just watching the dog for ages. My mum loved sherry trifle. And I always used to bring her in one of those individual ones that you get in the supermarket, and we'd just sit and I'd spoon it and I would talk to her. But what she'd be really focused on was the sensory thing.
So interesting. And when you look at today and the issues when it comes to early diagnosis and getting in there early, 1 in 4 people living 2 years with dementia without getting that diagnosis.
Yeah.
Why do you think people are so hesitant, or why are they having that difficulty sort of spotting and identifying there could be something linked to dementia?
I think there's a number of things. It's scary, isn't it? And you don't want to have to face up with it. But actually, realistically, the earlier you get that diagnosis, the more chance it is that there may be a drug which will prevent it from going so fast. There are a whole load of things that you can do, exercises that you can do, those kinds of things. You need to make sure that you've got people who are able to support you. You need to get out there and find what's available. One of the key things that we're talking about at the moment is that Alzheimer's Society have got a fantastic website, and if you or your loved ones are worried that you may have the beginnings of Alzheimer's, you can actually go to that website and there's a brilliant checklist that you can go to. Then after that, you may well be well armed enough to go to your doctor and get more support. If you feel nervous about it, then just go to the website and see what criteria you fulfil. An awful lot of the time you won't. I know I'm one of those people who is constantly forgetting people's names, constantly forgetting the place that I'm at, all those sorts of things. It's just because you're getting a bit older. Actually, it's nothing to do with Alzheimer's at all. But it's nice to have that reassurance.
Any advice out there for family members who've just got, you know, a loved one who's had that diagnosis? What kind of advice would you say? Where should they start in terms of approaching that? Don't panic. These things do tend to unroll really quite slowly. There is an awful lot of help out there. Find out what organisations are around where you live. There's so much out there now explaining how you can nurture people, and go to the Alzheimer's Society. Look on the website. It'll be so much support for you. Some good advice. Sir Tony Robinson, thank you.